This video series is going to be about disads and counterplans, and this specific first video is going to be an introduction again to disadvantages. Alright, so we're going to talk about the basics of DAs or disadvantages in this video. Before we do that though, let's talk about off-case positions in general. So remember that for the negative, it's a little bit more complicated a lot of times, and you have on and you have off-case positions. So generally for these off-case positions, there are 4 different categories that we generally group these in, at least from a policy debate perspective. So, the first one of these is T, or topicality. The second one is disads, or DAs, disadvantages. The third one is counterplans, which we will talk about in a couple videos from now, is my guess. 4 is critiques. So those are the 4 different types of off-case positions that you can read in a debate. This video and this series is going to be particularly focused on disadvantages and later on about counterplans. So we've already talked about this in most of the classes, so let's just do a brief little review so that we remember for the Marlboro tournament. So, for disadvantages, we will remember that they follow a basic structure. Normally, each part of this structure is going to be a piece of evidence. So the first part of this structure is a word that's used a lot in all forms of debate, called uniqueness. 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 So, uniqueness is a very fancy way in debate of saying a description of the status quo. So what does that mean? Basically, that just means, what does the world look like right now? Is the economy good? Is the economy bad? Is COVID a really bad problem? Is COVID getting better? Are vaccinations going up? Are they not going up? These are all different descriptions of the status quo. So it just says, this is how the world looks right now. That is followed up by an argument that we call the link, another word that's used way too much and for the wrong things in debate. So a link is basically, for a disad, going to say that the affirmative team, via their plan or via the resolution, that they change the status quo. So, the economy's good now. By the affirmative doing universal child care, they hurt the economy. The AI industry is good now. By banning laws, the affirmative hurts the AI industry. These are all saying that the affirmative action changes this description of the status quo. The next 2 I'm going to write together are going to be the internal link and the impact. And those are all 4 parts of the disadvantage. So the internal link is going to say why that change causes something to happen. And normally that cause is going to be connected to this impact. And that impact is going to be that some type of consequence or some type of externality occurs because of the disadvantage. So, let's give an example for a second. So, let's go with the laws topic to start, right? You could have a disadvantage that says that the AI industry is okay now. That argument would be a uniqueness argument. If you then had a link that said that banning laws destroys the AI industry, that would be your link piece of evidence. Then you would have a piece of evidence that would say, like, AI industry is important to solve climate change. And then you might say that climate change causes extinction or something like that. So this would be an example of a disadvantage on the laws topic. This would be specifically an example of the AIDA that we have been reading. Now, we haven't really been saying that it's a DA, we've just been saying it's a contention, but really, we've just been reading these three components. We've been saying the ban destroys the AI industry is important to solve climate change, and climate change solves extinction. The uniqueness, the link, the internal link, and the impact. So that's a basic review of disadvantages. We're going to get a little bit more complex with some actual examples in the next video. So I will see you next time.